Well, this is Jared with Stampede Blue, and this is your Indianapolis Colts post-game wrap. The Colts and the Texans tied today in Houston in overtime. Final score was 20-20, and I'm sure in hindsight the Colts would prefer if Matt Ryan hadn't fumbled the ball 4 times and thrown an interception today. Now, he only lost one fumble. He was 32 of 50 for 352 yards. He was sacked a couple times. Like I said, he threw a pick. But Jonathan Taylor, my friends, put the team on his back, sir. 31 carries, 161 yards, and a touchdown for about 5 yards a carry. Keep in mind, Houston as a team carried the ball 28 times for 77 yards. That would be having no run game. And I understand a lot of people are going to say, Jared, what is there to be happy about when you're tying a hapless Houston Texans team on the road, aka who is Davis Mills? 23 for 37, 240 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And while he is certainly a beatable quarterback, Colts are 0-1, as are the Texans, so they're pretty even after this game. Um, yeah, Michael Pittman had a nice day. 9 catches, 121 yards, and a touchdown. Naheem Hines, 6 catches for 50 yards. It kind of told you he'd be a little spark plug. It was good to see Paris Campbell out there, but it's pretty clear to me that first things first, if I'm the Indianapolis Colts, if I'm Matt Ryan, you have to get out in front of this and take ownership of this tie and say, hey, in my eyes, this is a loss. In my eyes, this is on me. 4 fumbled snaps, 1 lost fumble, and an interception. Unacceptable. Um, and there was also a couple other instances where the joke among my peers was at least he threw it with the correct hand. So I think obviously there's room to improve for the Colts, but again, like I said, in my eyes, yes, you could look at the special teams situation, the kicking situation today. And you could put blame on our kicker, but again, I think that turnovers dictate. And the Colts promised an improved pass rush and got 2 sacks out of Kwity Paye. Um, and on the whole, like I said, statistically the Colts beat the Texans. They just did not do it on the scoreboard, and technically did not have a better day at quarterback than Houston did. Technically, Davis Mills outplayed Matt Ryan today. Matt Ryan may have had more throws and more completions and maybe a better quarterback, but um, he lost that matchup and he lost it with things that you can fix. So that's the good news for all the people out there that are like, oh my God, the Colts are going to be awful. No, clearly they need to upgrade at wide receiver, a healthy upgrade at wide receiver. And it's not that Alec Pierce can't do it, it's that when pressed, he didn't make an open catch. And same thing for Ashton Doolin. They're just not sticky enough hands. And it's gonna have to be the truth, and the Colts have to be able to push the ball down the field. And there weren't again, it weren't actually instances where I felt like the Colts couldn't move the ball at will. So they did. They did move the ball at will. They did what they needed to do to get back into the game from being down. I suppose there is some silver lining in that the team did show some toughness and did come back, and it did really feel like Jonathan Taylor was going to bring them all the way back, or Michael Pittman was going to bring them all the way back, right? Um, Everything, like I said, a lot of people are going to be really sour on the kicker, and I'm really, it's putting a lot of undue pressure on a guy when I think it's your quarterback's fault. And I think he's the guy that gets paid all the big dollars. And I think if we're going to lay scrutiny on anyone, it should be the guy taking the snap, the guy that touches the ball every play. That situation, the quarterback center exchange, must be perfect, as evidenced by the Colts losing a game they should have won going away. Or not losing a game, tying in a game that I feel like they should have won going away. Um, I did say, you know, I would not take the Colts and the points. Um, I would just take the Colts straight up, or take Texans and the points here. So if you did that, hey, I told you Houston's going to play tough at home. Um, and again, like I said, I'm guessing the Colts are going to try to spin this as some sort of silver lining, given that they came into the game on an 8-game losing streak and now they're just on a 9-game winless streak to start seasons. And hopefully, again, these issues that the Colts have had with kicker and quarterback are issues that can be fixed. These are things that can be rectified, and the Colts are I believe still going to have a great NFL season. A lot of things happened in the NFL today. A lot of games that maybe shouldn't have been close were close today. There were more than one. The Colts weren't not the only team slated to win a game and then ended up in a much tighter contest than they anticipated. So I get it. There's a lot of people out there that are incapable of understanding that there's more fluidity to the NFL, and things are more in flux than you actually think. It's not so much you can prognosticate all you want, and everybody says like, "Oh, my team's going to be real good," but you don't know about regression and seeing off the field improvement, the hours that these guys put in. So it's going to be difficult. Um, if I'm the Texans and the Colts, figure out how I can improve in a situation where I think the Texans gave the Colts everything they had and got a tie out of it, and I think the Colts had their worst game and got a tie. So I think the Colts, this is hopefully the worst game they play all year because it was one of those in things where the offense could do whatever they want. Um, you weren't you were only sacked a couple times. You weren't under a ton of pressure. You had all day to throw. You're hitting out guys in the hands, and they just weren't catching it. But I think hopefully it takes a game like this as a wake up call. Um, that those who demand the most out of you deserve the most scrutiny, and that by improperly placing all of this pressure and scrutiny on this kicker is just going to make him worse. When the reality is that I think if Matt Ryan got out in front of this and took ownership and said, "This is my loss, this is my tie," you know what I mean? I bought us this tie. I dropped the ball, and I think that should be the headline. Matt Ryan drops the ball and Colts tie the Texans. And again, like I said, it's hard to say that because they did play valiantly, I believe, late in that contest, and got themselves back in it and got the game to overtime when it looked pretty bleak. Um, and again, not happy with anything but a victory. So like I said, unhappy even with a tie. But understand that in your division, it's about what you're willing to accept, if not a victory, right? A loss there is unacceptable. Because one, I think the Colts absolutely are the better football team, and they were in every statistical category in every way, with the exception that their quarterback outplayed ours, and our quarterback had two turnovers and theirs didn't, or theirs had one. Sorry. So anyway, this has been Jared with Stampede Blue. This is your Indianapolis Colts post-game wrap. Have a great rest of your week. Stay safe out there. The Colts travel and play at the Jaguars next week, who also lost 28-22 to the Commanders. So I know there's a lot of people out there going to be, how about that? Um, Carson Wentz was wanted by Washington. They've got some weapons offensively. Um, but a comeback win at home over the Jags isn't necessarily bolstering a resume, but I guess he sort of ended the year losing to them. So I suppose it is nice to start your year beating them if you're them. And then, like I said, at least for the Colts, I guess the least you could say is like at least it's not a loss. So, like I said, have a great week. Stay safe. Have a great week. Stay safe out there. Go Colts. We'll talk to you soon.